Mari, porfa, no se entiendes la cámara. Así hacemos el video. ¿Estamos claritos o no? ¿Grabando? Buenísimo, genial. Bueno, gracias a todos. Y Steve, todo tuyo.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to switch to English, given that we have non-Spanish speakers. So the idea of today, I'm going to share my screen. I have everything done inside my IDE. So that's the only screen that I need to share. Please let me know if you are able to see it. I hope so. Okay, so let me here. Okay, so the agenda for today. I'm going to give a brief introduction of myself. There is a lot of people that doesn't know me. The program that we are starting today, some questions that we are going to give to you using an application. And then the main topic, it's about vibe coding and how I implemented a feature inside our internal application. And we are going to do a lottery, a sorteo. So my name is Esteban Azaretzky. This is the LinkedIn things about myself. I'm the CTO. I'm one of the partners at Entropy. We are more than 70 people now, and the company is still growing. I'm focusing a lot in the last year in client success and not only technology. I started in 2018 in Entropy with the company. A bit more personal, I'm married. I have two young daughters. I started to code when I was in the university on the first year. I love it since there. I've been coding since that time, and Java is my main language. I'm a fan of the Spring framework. I'm also colorblind, and that's probably one of the reasons I didn't focus on the front end. And like I was mentioning, I started as a part-time CTO because I started to work with different clients. So the first one that was Dash, and then I moved to Velo, then Tricera, and since last year, I'm no longer in a client. I'm just the CTO. Please feel free to interrupt me if you want to make any questions. I don't have any issue with that. So right now, Entra Team is my main project. When I decided to take this step and be the Entropy CTO only, I decided to also have something open in my IDE. I didn't want to not be a hands-on person. I like to code. I do not imagine myself without coding. And given that we have our internal application, I decided to do it like my main project. And this presentation is about how I did a feature in the project. So before that, we are launching this space, We Grow Together, and that's one of our values. So, and I believe that growing together is about building a community. The more successful companies, they success not only because they have a really good service or product, because the people identify with the company and a community is built, and that change into individual collaborators to a team, and it's really deep in our values to create that thing. So we always think how we can improve that, and this space is one of the things that we are doing to connect between each other and create this community. Like I was mentioning, we want to grow together, our MTP, develop people, elevate teams. And the idea is that everybody is able to share what they are learning. We can learn from each other, we can celebrate the effort, and we will grow together. And like I was mentioning, this program and this talk is part of that commitment. So, well, this is a bit more of the same. Now there are some questions to you. So please, Maggie, go ahead and paste the link in the chat. I want to know which tools and how you're using AI. So it's a short poll, only 3 questions. So I'm going to actually, give me a second. I'm going to log in into the app
Okay, done.
to start it. Okay, 1 second. Okay, I'm seeing some answers now. Nice. Please let me know when everybody finish. Give 1 more second to this question, and then we'll move to the next one. Okay, let's go. How do you use AI tools in your workflow? So the first one, everybody's using AI, so I love it. We are going to share the results later. I actually don't know how to share it now. Okay, 23 votes. We are done. Go to the next. So mostly you guys are using it via web and IDE. Nobody chose mostly in the IDE. That's curious. Okay, last one. Which best describe your behavior when searching for coding help? Seventeen, 18 votes. 19, 21. Okay, so the poor Stack Overflow has, we all think about it, got 0 votes. I mostly use Stack Overflow. It wasn't vote. The winner is I mostly use ChatGPT. Then I use both ChatGPT and Stack Overflow. So that's a really interesting trend. Over the last I don't know 2 years, the traffic of Stack Overflow has gone to levels of the almost the beginning of the site. So they are actually really dying. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for your time to answer these questions. I think they are useful. It's interesting for us to know how you guys are using it. I think that we all need to use AI tools. This regarding our role. It doesn't need to be like a programming thing. Everybody needs to be using it. And this doesn't matter the age. My mom is 70 years old and is using ChatGPT all day. Okay, so let's now go into what is actually the talk, maybe, about the journey for building this new report. So Entropy is an internal project that we are using to track all the employee information from personal information and salary, rates, PTO, vacation, everything. We currently have different reports that are supporting the business. And by that, I mean the paying the salaries and invoicing the clients. So it's really core to our business and it's an important application. we are now in a position that we want to start using the information that we have to know how the business is doing outside of the only the numbers of only the financial things. We think that we can see the data to understand how the projects are going and use that to negotiate with the clients or to understand better what needs to be done. The turnover, it's a critical um, KPI that we track because it links satisfaction of you guys and the satisfaction of the clients. If you guys are happy, you're not going to leave, and if the client is happy, you guys are not going to be fired. So we think that we need to keep an eye on that. Of course, that there are situations when uh, the turnover is going to happen. The client can be broke, they can finish, they can make a reduction. So there's always going to be a turnover. Uh, until now, we have been tracking the turnover only on a company basis. We know how many we are at the specific point in time, but it's difficult with spreadsheet or with the kind of information that we have to actually know the turnover by client, by project and by client. So we decided to do this. Given that I wanted to also, Maggie was also asked me to present something, I decided to take an approach of vibe coding this and see what happened. Disclaimer, I'm not an expert in AI. I'm not somebody that has a lot of experience with this. So this is going to be, I'm going to present now my journey from starting in with an idea of what I wanted to do until I actually was able to finish it, and some frustration in between. So I'm going now to open Juni. If you guys notice, I'm using JetBrains IDEA. It's the IDE that I use every day. And the latest version, they include this Juni thing, which is like cursor. So you have your agent here where you can ask to do things. In the history, you have all the things that I've been using it, and there are some examples that, for example, create a project specific. You can use it to analyze the requirement and different things. Because I am already using it, I did some of these things before I started to create the project. Those are important things, and one thing to notice is that this project is open, so you guys can see the code uh, directly in GitHub if you want. So there is one file here that is the you need guidelines, so you can see a bit of this is information that the agent is going to use when it's working with the prompt. So already has the project structure, some workflow guidelines that I ask Juni to write, and then I review it. So I already have that. So what I want to do, I want to do a report. I want a turnover report. So my first prompt was this one. We can check the history here. So I focus at the beginning on the formula. So in order to calculate the turnover, there is for the HR world, there is a specific formula, and is this one. Basically, is the numbers of employees who left during a period of time divided in the average employees of that moment. So the number of employees who left divided in the number of employees at the beginning of the period plus at the end of the period divided in two. And that gives you the turnover. Okay? So what I ask Juni, without too much specification, is to create this report, right? So I want to track the turnover over a period of time for a client. I specify here top level because remember that I want to track this by client, then by company, by client, and then by project of each client. Okay, so I put this, I put the formula here, specification on the wiki, and some other things like specific to the project. So the entity that to use, which employees are assigned to each project, and from the project to the client is the assignment entity. So in Entro team, we have two main entities. One is the assignment, and the other one is the contract. The assignment is going to track um, to which project each employee is assigned, and the contract is to track the salary. So assignment is more for the rate, and contract is for the salary. I specify a few things like focus on SQL efficiency, avoid native queries if possible, use the report controller, and create a new service class. So after this prompt, a lot of code was generated, and that code actually ran. But I quickly realized that I forgot to mention the year group, the year month group. So after that, I just said the report needs to be grouped by year month too. Check, for example, the margin service and how the margin report is done. That's a previous report that already has some logic that could be shared. So I'm giving this follow-up task. With the agents, you can, at least with Juni, and I believe that with the others too, you can give one task. And the way it works is first creates a plan and then start going through the step of the plan. You can see that in each point, the plan is created, and the difference between this and Copilot is specifically this. I mean, it's a plan that the iterates through it, and it goes, and sometimes um, the plans change after something is found in one of the step. You can see it running, and yeah, the plan is uh, it's adapt to the things that it's doing. All the steps are after you put the prompt are starting to appear here on the right. So you can see get structure. I mean, the agents start to understand better the project and what needs to be done, and then start to make the changes. Right? Any questions so far? No? Okay. What I like about this implementation is that you can see the changes done at that moment, and it keeps track of everything. So I can see here what was done in this step, even that this is already something that is no longer present. But it's a nice feature. I mean, I was able to make a recap of everything that I did by going through the history. So going back to where I was, I started without too much specification, just the formula and an idea of what needs to be done. Unit is, I forgot something, so I added that, and that's something that I regret now. I probably should have told at the beginning that the year month group by needs to be done. And then I saw that the current output that was giving me was flat. It was only a row. I mean, it was flat. It didn't have any structure. So at this moment, I shift from using Uni to using ChatGPT, specifically the O3 model. I decided that I didn't want to write how the hierarchical structure should be. So I took the output that I was getting and I put on ChatGPT and said, hey, I want a hierarchical structure that should be like company, client, project, ping, pum, pam, a few go on forward with ChatGPT. And at the end, I told him to ChatGPT, give me a prompt for LLM to change for the next step. So I during this journey, I was using different tools like for different things. The JSON was better. I like it. I mean, I think that it was clear for the testing and for the overall structure. There is a company level, and then there was a client, and the client has project, and for each client and for each project, you have the periods, so you can see everything in a nice JSON way. The results were acceptable, but the code was starting to get long, and that's something that I didn't like. So then what happened is that Juni crashed in the middle of I was doing something, and I almost lost everything. We didn't have made any commit so far, so that was a rookie mistake. Luckily, I was able to recover from that scenario and continue with the work. Like I was saying, the code um, after I mentioned after I ask for the transformation, this one I put one more prompt that day. You can see here the different follow-ups that I was doing to only focus on the hierarchical report. I do not wanted to have the flat version at that moment. So, and to focus on readability and make the function short. So at that moment, the code was a bit better, but like I was mentioning, Shuni crashed and I needed to restart a few things until I pointed the my local to production. I saw that all the numbers were wrong. Everything was like completely off. It was saying like in January we were like 200 people, and I knew that that wasn't wrong. That was wrong. So um, I started to actually see what the code was doing, and I noticed something that was not clear for Juni and that I didn't specify. In the model that we have in Entro Team, whenever there is a change in your rate or whenever there are different scenarios, you can have a new entry in the assignment table without actually changing from one project to the other. This is going to be more clear for the entropist people that have contributed to Entro Team. We can go through more details later if you are still curious, but this is like a long-standing decision that it helps sometimes, and in this case, it wasn't helping. Given that part that Juni didn't understand how the model was used, because it wasn't something like wrong, but it needed to do an extra step in order to actually understand when one person started in the project and and when it actually finished. On another hidden complexity is that when somebody didn't end the project, the end date was null, and that was also causing some issues. My first attempt was to try to tell Juni to fix these things. So besides asking to create some test scenarios, because I was doubting if the problem was in the code or in the data. I wasn't sure. I wanted to have some tests, so I asked to implement some tests. Then this is also something that I regret now. In the middle of asking tests, I started to tell to make changes in the structure of a DTO. So that I think it confused a bit to the agent. And at the end is when I started to mention about the this thing that I mentioned about the assignment. Um, that when there is a change in the billable rate, it shouldn't affect the turnover. At this point is where I got a bit frustrated. I mean, I was feeling like I was stuck. The complexity was increasing. The results were bad. The code was longer and longer. I think that it was already more than 1,000 lines for a report. So I wasn't happy. So when AI fails, SQL prevails. I wanted to see the data. One of the things that I did was to, instead of using, I mean, you need to use the tool for the right tool for the right job. So instead of trying to group by everything in the service layer and making just like a dumb query to the database and grouping everything in the service layer, I work with Claude Sonnet to create a query to select correctly the employees and the assignment. And I'm going to show that query now. Why not? To repositories. So this is the query that I did. I'm not going to go through all the details of the query. The one thing that I want to mention is that this part of um, generate series, where is it? This part. Did cross join generate series to split the data that because I have start date and end date, and I wanted to have one row per month between the start date and end date. That's something that I told Claude, and Claude knows Postgres much better than I do. Created the almost correct query. I finish with some details, adding the filters by year month, and with this specific scenario for when the end date is null. And that created a nice structural table where for each employee and for each project and for each year month, I have one single entry. Because one of the things that I was noticing in the code that Juni was creating was that there was just like too much code to make all these group bys. By doing it in SQL was actually much better. So going back to this, yes, I refactored the backend to leverage in SQL using generate series and avoided the double counting that was happening. And what I did was to, given that I did like the the I mean, I added the query to the repository, created the projection manually, this monthly assignment projection. I added manually. I tested this like by myself, like a regular programmer. And then here in the turnover service, I only left this method, the one that retrieves, receive the params, get the start date and date. It retrieves the data from the database and then calculate the turnover. So by keeping this method, I remove everything that was done at that moment that wasn't the DTO and the output DTO and this monthly assignment new record. So it's like I was able to give a better specification. I finished. I did the first commit because the contract at that moment looked solid, and at that moment I felt confident again to delegate to Juni, and the prompt used in that moment was to this one. I want you to create the implementation of the calculate turnover method in the turnover service class. Use the existing calculator turnover rate because this method to actually make the calculation. This was also preserved between the two. When I wipe everything, almost everything, I maintain this method because it was only the calculation and it was fine. So using this method, this is something that I like. Look in detail to the monthly assignment record to understand the input and the turnover report DTO to understand the output and the calculation that need to be done. Add the test case to the class turnover service class, turnover service test, blah, blah, blah. At that moment, I was again happy. I delegated the task to Juni, and at the end of that date, I was unhappy again. Something happened. I noticed that there was a bug in Entropy. The logic was, the implementation of that Juni did. I started to test. It make more sense because the number, instead of saying that we were like 200 people, it was saying that we were like 60 in January. I don't remember exactly the month, but it did make sense. But and it did make sense for some of the projects. But when I started to actually see, for example, bigger projects like Dash or Tracera, where we know that we have had some turnover, the numbers didn't match. And I remember that Kitty was saying a few times that there was something odd in Entro Team sometimes, that she saw that dates didn't match. I started to look, and there was a bug that whenever you deactivated a person, all the end date for the contracts and the assignment were set to now. And that is wrong and was causing all the issues in the calculations. So at that moment, I was like in a crossover. Should I go and fix the bug in prod, or stay doing the development? I was thinking that, I have just discovered a bug in production. It is our main tool for billing and for invoicing and salaries. We cannot have that kind of bad information there. This was something that corrupted our data. Although the bug had been there since long before I started to actually work on this turnover report, and also it was there uh, before I actually work on the salaries and the billing reports, which are the reports that the financial area of entropy of the entropy administration used to well pay you guys and invoice the client. So it wasn't actually affecting the business. The problem was there, but it
No te escucho, Steve.
what about now?
Okay, now you're back.
Okay, I don't know. My headset decided to turn off. So I was saying that the bug had been there for a long time, but it was not affecting the business. So I took a decision. I have two options: pause the feature, work in fixing the error. It's going to be awful. I need to get into the DB backups, check every employee that was inactive, verify the end date, fix the end date to the new value, etc. Or accept the current state and focus on delivering the report. I choose B because of what I'm saying. The invoice and the payroll reports were working well. I didn't. We weren't going to affect the business. So I'm going to do A, obviously, but I decided to still focus on B. I think that it's important to stop and think about these things because uh, nothing is going to be perfect, and it's important to not stop you because you're going to be stuck trying to fix everything, and that's going to block the progress. So what I did is I documented the issue. I'm going to fix it later, and I stay focused on the delivery of the feature. Uh, and that's something to avoid the scope creep and miss the goal. Building software sometimes is I mean, you have to make this kind of decision. You need to be acknowledged. You need to acknowledge imperfection, and that's something that always is going to be there, and is often a sign of maturity of yourself and even of the project. So going back to so why the turnover matters and why we decided to add this feature to Entropy. So Entropy is a project that started to improve our internal processes of Entropy. Like I was saying, salaries, billing. We added also a report to get the margins. Those are all financial reports. Now we are shifting the scope of the project to decisions that are going to be useful for the business. So the turnover, it's the main KPI that we follow. Like I was mentioning at the beginning, it's going to measure our success with our clients because it links the satisfaction with the retention. And one thing that is still pending to add to Entro Team, I'm probably going to be working next week, is the voluntary exits. We do not track, we track that internally, but we cannot reflect it yet on Entro Team. So now was time, making the decision, was time to finish the project. We can move now to the so I continue here. I started to add more test cases. You can see that it was a mix of Spanish and English sometimes. Perfection is not my my target. So the test cases were actually good, and one of the things that I did, and I'm confident that was a good decision, was to actually test manually the verify manually the test case with pen and paper, old school. I started to see if the values make sense, and then I started to add more test cases, like you can see here on the right. This is another thing that happened. The test cases, the test that Juni created, I didn't like. It was a single method with all the asserts inside, and it wasn't following like very good practices. So I told Juni to to improve it and to reduce the duplicate code and so on, and it didn't do a good job. So what I did at that moment was to shift from Juni to the AI chat. That is the other feature that you have here on IntelliJ, and that you can select here all the different models. I'm starting to think that I am a JetBrains advocate now. So you can select you can select the models here, and it's useful because you can use commands also like refactor this this file, refactor this file to blah blah blah, and it's going to give you it's not going to make a plan because this is not an agent, right? It's not going to make the codes the changes directly in your code. It's going to everything's going to be inside the the screen, and you need to manually insert it later in the code. I mean, in the actual file. Um, but Cloud Sonnet 4, it's amazing. Even 3.7 and 4 of Sonnet, I mean of Claude, are amazing. I haven't used much GPT for code changes or not even Gemini. I do heard that Gemini 2.5 Flash is really good at coding, but I haven't used it yet. So um, I did this mix of fixing of refactoring with Claude instead of Uni. One thing that I want to check that I'm not sure is which model actually Uni use, because I do not think that is something completely done by JetBrains. It must be based on probably one of Anthropic or one of the models. I will verify that later. So I continue with the test cases. If you check, well, this is something that I didn't apply. And then I realized, I mean, after the test cases were done, what's happening here? Well, I don't know why it's showing this black thing. After I wrote most the scenarios, I refactored using Sonnet 4. And then I realized that the flat report was actually a good idea because on the front end, Entro team used React Admin, which is a framework on top of React that have already components prepared for present information in tables really easily. So a hierarchical report do not apply well to that model. So I ask Juni to generate a flat report using the already existing hierarchical report. So instead of it just the transformation from the hierarchical to the flat. After that, some fixings. And at the end, I created a flat version of the report using the same logic. And I also, we also have some convention that I didn't specify until this moment that for the report need to return a report DTO with the parameterized with the entity type. I started to test it thoroughly. Looks solid, and the changes in the UI, they were simple, so I did it manually. I didn't use an agent for that. One of the last things that I did, just because I was like using AI for everything now at this moment, is to I mentioned, can you check all the commits done in this branch and create a PR message based on that? And it's amazing. I mean, it ran on your terminal, and you can see it got the last commits. He went through the commits and created a message like this that I put on the PR that I approved myself. So yeah, it was helpful. So some key takeaways that I have learned through this process. AI is a tool, it's not magic. The specs do matter a lot, more than the prompt. You can mix English, Spanish, you can put better or worse prompt, but the spec do matter. This is like a personal thing, that the SQL is important. I rely a lot when I can. Well, and the natural things, short and readable code. It's going to win on the long run. And writing the test manually, I mean, verifying manually with pen and paper that what the AI is doing, it's going to give you confidence. I did a lot of TDD with this project. I wasn't checking if the logic was completely fine or optimic. I don't know. But it was fast. I mean, a lot of logic. It's not a super complex report, but it has a lot of things to calculate. You need to check on the period. You need to check a lot of edge scenarios. So having a good test scenario is super helpful. And the last thing, because I do agree that the spec matter more than prompts, but what's happening? Oh no, my last slide. It's better to build than to overthink. That's the last thing that I wanted to mention. I mean, even when the specs are unclear, I found that the progress comes from trying and having an AI agent. It's incredibly useful for quickly prototype, for exploring options, and to find the different things that I mean, different shape of the problem. You can, the thinking and the doing can go in parallel, and one thing is going to unlock the other. So just start, iterate, and improve. And that was my journey building this report using AI. So I'm going to stop sharing. Questions?
I have one.
Yeah, go ahead.
One second. I'm working in Coursera client, and I will receive the opportunity to install Cursor, but given I'm using IntelliShare, I don't take that opportunity. But now it's the first time I see this AI, so I will. It was a try to see what happened with this. My question is, should I install it with the client code? I mean, thinking in the privacy and the copyright.
That's a good question. I think that the proper answer is that you or I could check with the client. I mean, if in Tracera, given that they are already, I mean, they are an AI-driven company, I don't think that there's going to be too much like I don't know, doubts or things to install it. We can go through the terms and conditions about these tools, but I do think that everybody should be using it. With, for example,
the guideline from Sandeep was, guys, install AI, no matter what, no matter which, but install AI. So,
I mean, this is checking the code. It's not connected to the DB, for example. You can do that. You can connect the agents to. I mean, you can connect JetBrains to the DB. If there is some resilience, or I mean, some doubts, I think that they are all going to start dropping, given the amount of productivity that you can get from using the tools.
okay. Yeah, and the copyright?
I have no idea. I mean, the copyright of who owns the code?
Yes, I mean, probably I'm many steps. I'm thinking this step to the future, but I don't know. We can just commit this code.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, I will try and we'll let you know what happened.
Okay.
At the beginning, I feel like it will help at least to do the unit test. It could be very interesting to
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for all the tasks that you guys don't like to do, AI doesn't care about that. I mean, it's a AI.
Yeah, it's have a license or it's for free.
This one is paid. You have two tiers of for Uni. They are $10 and $20 per month, and it depends on the usage. So the more that you use, the more that it costs. Okay. Any other question before the raffle, for the lottery?
No.
Oh, no. Okay. So I'm available on Slack, guys. Ping me if you want to make any question. I will share the repo with the presentation on it, so you can also check. I will share the PR where you can see all the changes. So for the lottery, we are going to give some gift cards so you guys can use and try any of these tools, the one that you choose. It can be Copilot, Claude, Juni, whatever, for a few months, and then you can decide if it is worth enough to push on your client to make them pay, or if it's something that you choose to pay your own because it's going to improve your productivity and is a really helpful tool. Like, I don't know, buying a chair or buying a new monitor. It's just like that. So I don't know, Maggie, how we are going to do that.
Yes, we're going to do this. We know some of you stayed until the end just for the prize because Esteban mentioned that at the beginning, and we respect that. But there is just one rule. Only those who have their cameras on can participate on the raffle. So just please, come on, show us your little beautiful faces.
I will stay with Stack Overflow, don't worry.
Okay. Couple more.
Okay.
Come on, guys. Don't be shy. You're so nice.
Okay,
Cute.
that one just leave. No camera, just drop.
Coward.
Okay.
Okay, almost there. Jonathan, Juan, Tomás, Kitty, come on, guys. Herman. Just one shot.
Oh, it's for the picture. Okay.
Yes.
For the picture and for the raffle, both. Okay. So Esteban just mentioned that the prizes are 3 gift cards. And once we have the winners, Maggie will reach out to each of you privately so to share all the details and help you claim your prize. So good luck to everyone and thank you for showing your faces.
Okay. That's all.
So it's
Good.
24
Delicious.
participants, but we are 30 in the call.
Yes. Yay!
Are they showing their faces?
Congrats.
It can
Maxi
be,
again?
it can be true, Maxi again.
No, Maxi again.
Of course it is.
Fair.
Let's do it again. Maxi, no.
Thank you, thank you.
Hey,
He
thank you,
told me that
guys.
he doesn't need it.
I wish.
Okay, okay, guys. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. The next talk is I'm going to be the presenter also. So this first one was to for me to show how I used AI to build a new functionality inside the project. My next big thing, or I don't know, my next task with Entro team is to integrate with Spring AI to actually use one of the models. I haven't decided which one now because we are now saving inside the Entro team all the feedback that we have from you guys and from your the project and everything. So we want to use that data to create a semaphore. I don't know how to say that in English. What's the word for semaphore? Yeah, it's going to be a feature to allow us to detect who is on risk of leaving, and it's a traffic light. Thank you, Joanna. So that's the idea. This first talk was to show how I use AI to build something that doesn't require AI. The next one is going to be integrating Spring AI and leveraging the tools that the Spring community has built to use OpenAI probably to process information that we have in the database and create summary and create information for us to be able to negotiate with the clients and keep track of everybody. That's the next one. So thank you and enjoy the rest of your day. It was a pleasure for me.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Everybody.
Thank you. Bye bye.
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 Bye, guys.